Here we go. So yesterday we learned that even if there is one corner of the world that is not illuminated by Hashem, as long as we see that there is suffering in the world, as long as we see that there is idolatry in the world, as long as we see that there is, how do you say, lust in the world, and how do you say, perversion in the world, these things should make us feel bad, should make us feel crushed. We should know we're not doing enough, that the reason these people are suffering, or they're perverted, or they're hurting each other, lying to each other, killing each other, is because of us. And it should make us guilty, but it should make us crushed that we know we have to do something. We have to do something quick. What are we going to do quick like this? There's a famous movie. You ever heard this movie? I remember a movie called The Seven Samurai. You heard this movie?
Oh.
Famous movie.
Huge. The Japanese actor.
Yeah, it was a movie from like the 30s, I think. An old movie. I think it's even a Japanese movie.
Japanese.
And the movie is that there's these simple people in a little village, and they hire 7 samurai, 7 professional warriors to come and help them, protect them against the bandits that once a year, or once every whatever years, the bandits sweep through the town and they just steal everything that there's there, and they rape all the ladies, and they take everything they got, and they kill all the men that are the young men or something, whatever it is, and they beat everybody up, and they steal everything. And that happens like once every 5 years. And when they hear these bandits are coming, so they hire these 7 samurai. The 7 samurai come, and they're all professional warriors. And they come and they see these very simple people. They haven't got even any money to pay them. Usually each one of them gets, $10,000 or something like that. Because they're professional warriors. And this guy gives them a chicken, this guy gives them eggs, and this guy gives them bread. And they look at these people, they say, let's get out of here, And then they look at the people and they have mercy on them. They say, we have to help them. And so they teach the people how to fight, which of course they can't. They're not really that successful. But the people get into it. They realize that they have to help these samurai, and the samurai help the people. And there's a whole battle in the end. It's very, very, very well done. It's very, very well done. And it's sort of atypical of Japanese movies. When I was in Japan, I saw a few of the movies. They had like people flying in the air and stuff like that. They like this, the dream stuff. But this was very, very realistic, and it was very good acting. When it says, what's the point? What am I trying to say? The point is
the classics.
One of the
classics of the world.
Yeah. What's the point is that even when I used to watch movies, if a movie didn't look like it was this, after 3 minutes I would stop watching. I would walk out, as soon as something happened. This movie was from the... What's the point of the movie? The point of the movie, one of the reasons it was so interesting, and it held you, was because It's talking about people that crushed themselves inside. That there was a situation that they were crushed by. These people, they wanted to, they could have run away. There were other solutions that they could have had. Right? They could have run away and just left all their properties there or whatever they had. And also these soldiers could also run away. And they could let it. But they were in impossible odds. But they realized they had to do something about it. They had to do something about it. And so you saw how people reacted, how they pushed themselves to do things. Right? There's a lot of movies about that. People who become crippled and they go into the Olympics, and people who become blind. The story of Helen Keller. You know, you ever see that movie? That's a knockout movie. That's tremendous. I never really saw the whole movie from the beginning, but I saw the end of the movie. It's called, what's it called? There's a name to it. There's a name to it for the movie. Anyway, whatever it is, the end of the movie is there's a lady, Helen Keller, and she was blind and she was deaf, and she was also, she was blind and deaf, and she was mute because she never heard anybody talk, and she never saw anybody move their mouth. So they were just putting her into an institution. There was this lady that decided that she was going to fetch herself and get this girl to talk. And the whole movie is about this lady. Her name was Anne Sullivan. Her battles to get this girl not put into it, and to get somebody to believe in this girl. Nobody believed in her. And I never saw the beginning. I saw only the end of the movie. Every time I see it, I cry. Doesn't make it really. I cry. I see the end of the movie. Excellent acting. And in the end of the movie, the lady is trying to get this Helen Keller to say something, to move. She's trying to put her hand on her throat, and she's trying to this. And she's trying to train her, and there's finally a big fight. The girl doesn't want to, and she throws things and she knocks, and then finally she drags her outside, or wherever they are, and she puts water in her hand, and the girl says, "Water." That's the end of the movie. I just think about it. It's water. It's like, it's a big deal. I say water all the time, but this came from the darkness. It came from the death. You know, it came from a place of death and silence. All of a sudden, you know, it broke out.
What's the movie called?
Why? It's called something like A Will to Be, or some sort of a thing. Anyway, not important. The point of what I'm saying is this is to be crushed. Being crushed means you see all the Jews in the world that they don't know about Hashem, that they don't know about God. It's like they're all blind and deaf. And we have to just get them to say, Shema Yisrael. It's a miracle. Understand? You guys know what the world is like. You know, for a Jew to get out of the clutches of the world and to think maybe there's God, it's a miracle of miracles. Right? There's absolutely no reason to even dream that you should do a mitzvah, put on a box on your arm. That's insane. Right? What would a person want to do with it like that? You've got all these beautiful reefs and sunsets and pleasures and parties and money and power and depression and anxiety and crazy and lust and all these things that get, right? Drugs and fights and so many things that make people, right? Their whole life they devote to this. Who needs what do you get from devoting Torah of a mitzvah? It's like the blind deaf person. He has all these imaginations. He thinks about it. An autistic child, you know, he's got his own little inside life. Why should he break out? It's a miracle. That should fetch us when we see that there's people in the world that they don't know about what Hashem is and how good Hashem is, and Hashem is creating them and giving them potential, how close Hashem is, you know. It should fetch us. And when we look at ourselves even more, right? You see how sometimes we get depressed, sometimes we get angry, sometimes we say the wrong thing and look in the wrong place on purpose. Right? And sometimes there's things sometimes we can't even control. We're out of control. You get angry people, you think that you have vengeance. Right? You see that, you realize that you have to fetch yourself to get out. Right? Like the people in the town fetched themselves and the samurai fetched themselves to this, and the lady fetched herself to get this Helen Keller. Helen Keller fetched herself to get out of her thing. Yet then that makes the person a different person. When a person is on a higher level of values, he's living a higher level of reality, so he doesn't do stupid things like run after all these pleasures and fears. Okay, So that's what we learned over here. You've got to be crushed. And who crushes you? Two things. One thing is that there has to be a leader. And he tells you there is another reality. And also the fact that where you are, that crushes you. Where you are, you see that you're living in a world where there's darkness. It means that you're somehow or other at fault. You have to do more. Okay, Yud. Yesh Lomar, we can say. Yesh Lomar, this is in Yud, right? Yes? Yesh Lomar, we can say.
Was that chapter Yud?
Yeah. Huh? Yeah.
How come it's spelled out?
What?
Why is it spelled out?
I guess they don't want to like a little dot over there because you know what it is. What Yud? Yud is just a little. Yesh Lomar, maybe we can say. Shebechinat at the level. Hameor of the illuminator, and that's the essence. The Haneshama of the soul. You have to take a towel and you put a lot of water on it. Take a towel, you put a lot of water on it, and a little bit of soap, and it comes off.
Salt?
Soap.
Salt.
Yesh Lomar, we can say. Huh? How's that? Oh, you want to do it now? No, do it after class. Come, don't miss the class. Come, listen. Yesh Lomar, we can say. Shebechinat at the level. Or this level of the illuminator, the essence of the soul. Hamitgalit, which is revealed. Al Yedei, by means of. Ha'inyan, the fact. Ha'inyan, put the fact, write it down. See where you have it?
The matter.
Ha'inyan is the fact. Right. By means of the fact that this essence of the soul, which is revealed because of the fact, the katit, that it is crushed. Mizeh, from this. Shenimtzeim, that we are found. Begalus and galus. He is not
the fact that we were found in
that we're in galus, right? The fact that your soul is crushed in galus. This reveals the ore of the light, not just the light of your soul, but the essence, the illuminator of your soul. He it is. This light which is revealed. This level of your soul that's revealed because you're crushed due to the exile. He is Nali Joseph higher even more. Midbechinat, and the level Hamaor, the neshama, then the illuminator of the soul, Shemitkali, that is revealed, Al Yatei, by means of Mesirut Nefesh, self-sacrifice. Okay, listen, what do we have now? Listen, maybe it's a little bit confusing here, but we have 3 levels of faith. Do you remember this from the Mimer? 3 levels? The level that Moshe Rabbeinu reveals, the level that Mordechai reveals, right? The level that Mordechai revealed before the miracle, and the level that Mordechai revealed after the miracle. Do you remember this at all? No?
But it has to be free.
What did we say? Listen, what did we say in the Mimer? Listen.
It says free.
We said, listen to what I'm saying, and then you'll see maybe they'll all fit together. What did we say in the Mimer? We said that the first time the Jews really received the Torah was when?
On Mordechai.
With Purim. Because there's a pasuk that it says, "V'kibul haYehudim et asher eichel lasot." The Jews accepted what they began to do.
After the fact of...
So very good. So the Rebbe said, this fact that they received the Torah, who gave the Jews the Torah?
Hashem.
Through
Moshe.
And who brought them to this level of accepting the Torah, finally accepting the Torah? Was Mordechai. Very good. So the Rebbe says in the Mimer, what happened between Moshe and Mordechai? What happened between Moshe and Mordechai? There was the miracle of Purim. And before the miracle of Purim, the Jews were all crushed because Haman wanted to kill them all because they were Jews. And all they had to do was say, we're not Jewish, they would get out. And not one Jew said that he's not Jewish. For 1 full year, not one Jew even thought to say it. And that's being crushed. Right? So the Jews had what? Mesiras Nefesh. So that's what Mordechai did. Mordechai brought the Jews to a level of Mesiras Nefesh. Which Mesiras Nefesh is higher than the level of Moshe. That Moshe do. Moshe. Do you remember in the Maimon what it said? What is this level that Moshe revealed? This level of faith? Do you remember? There in the Maimon it says that that's Mazlehu Chazi. That they're mazel, seeds. She said the level of Moshe Rabbeinu revealed in the Jew's soul was this level of Mazlehu Chazi. That's what's called the external faith, where a person can even be a thief, but he still believes in God. Remember?
Yeah.
He prays to God for success. Huh?
Yeah.
That's the first level. That's Moshe Rabbeinu's level. That's the level of Mazlehu Chazi. Then there's the level of Mordechai, that was called Mesiras Nefesh. But says the Rebbe, this what it says, that the Jews accepted the Torah, finally accepted it. This happened when? After the miracle of Purim. When the Jews weren't being crushed.
Yeah.
So why is it that then they reached this level of accepting the Torah? They accepted the Torah beforehand, I thought, when they were being crushed. Why after the miracle? So that's what the Rebbe is saying now. We can say that this level of the essence of the soul that's revealed by means of the fact that we know we're in Gullus. Why did the Jewish people accept the Torah? Only after the miracle of Purim. After the miracle of Purim, they were sitting high. Like they were successful. Why only then did they accept the Torah? Why? Because it says that even now we are still slaves of Ahasuerus. The Jews realized, yes, the miracle of Purim, the danger is over, but the gullus is not over. The exile is not over. The exile is not over. And that crushed them even more. Right? Why should that crush them more? We'll see. That's what the Rebbe is saying. There's 3 levels of the level of Moshe Rabbeinu revealed. That was the thing of Mazlehu Chazi. That's an external faith that doesn't necessarily interfere with your personality.
It's nothing like with the 6-day war, for instance.
Right, very good. Here we have. Yeah.
It's horrible, and there's so this and that, and then after the war, all of a sudden, people.
Yeah, sure. There we go.
Become religious.
6-day war.
Yeah,
that's right. Very good. And the 6-day war, it was tight and it was pressure and etc. And then after the war finished and everybody saw these miracles and everybody did, then all of a sudden everybody started realizing, wow, how far away I am from God. And they started doing. Very good. They came to this higher level. Excellent. Says the Rebbe, but let's explain how we're supposed to do it. Mainly after the 6-day war, people became religious. A lot of people. That's how this yeshiva started. After the 6-day war, all of these non-religious people became religious. Right. Very good. But what about the religious people? Huh? Did they all of a sudden change and become closer to God? Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Well, they may think that the 6-day war was like the start of it. The reasoning for it was kind of deserved. All these wars that happened for the wrongs that were done in the world.
Yes.
So it's one another punishment. Even though we won, like there's still a war that we...
Listen, there were all sorts of people that explained all sorts of things. And one of the biggest problems of the religious people is that what happened after the 6-day war is the Israeli government started giving back lands. And they became afraid of what the world was going to say. And so they gave back Jerusalem, they gave back the Holy Mountain, they gave back they gave back everything that they could. The miracles, the non-Jews didn't accept it. The Arabs didn't accept it. But they wanted to show the world that it was just an accident and we didn't mean it, we're not a conquering nation, and we wanted to give everything back. And the Arabs, they wanted to kill everybody, rape all the ladies. That's what they're they weren't thinking about anything, justice or peace or truth. They just wanted to kill everybody. And they just couldn't stand the idea that there was anybody that they couldn't kill that was in their midst. So what happened afterwards? All of a sudden, all the religious people started blaming. Look how stupid the government. Look how bad the thing is. Right? And what they should have said was, hey, the whole reason that this is happening, this crazy government and the Zionism and all that, the reason it's happening is because of us. We're supposed to be doing more. If we were doing more, then and that's when the Rebbe, that's right before the 6th day war, the Rebbe started the Tefillin campaign. Say, okay, now let's start putting Tefillin on Jews instead of cursing them out because of how stupid they are, and they really are stupid. Let's put some Tefillin on them, and maybe it'll knock some sense into their head. Maybe and that's what started the whole Tefillin campaign. That millions of people started putting on Tefillin all over the world. It was because the Rebbe understood what was going to happen. The Israeli government was going to, botch everything up as much as they could. But Hashem didn't let them. They didn't let them botch it up. But they did a pretty good job. I'm messing with them. They're doing its thing. They're doing it right now also. That they're fighting against Hashem. And they're, it's give and take. It's not so simple. The Rebbe says, what are you supposed to do? I mean, it's fun poking fun at them. It feels good. But on the other hand, you have to cure the situation, right? You have to cure the situation. How are you going to cure the situation? You have to do more yourself. Not just stand there and say, look at this guy, look at him, look at him, look at him. So when you point to somebody else, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. Ever hear that before?
Yeah.
And there's 1 finger pointing at Hashem. Look at him, look at him. He's blaming everybody, right? Really, you're blaming yourself. You're trying to blame Hashem. Let's go. So, this level of Katit Lem'or, the fact that we're going to call this is even higher than the level of Mesiras Nefesh. Ta'inyan hu. To VeAtah, that one of the reasons, al zeh, for the fact, shebamatan Torah, that at the giving of the Torah, VeAtah was rak only. You have the paper, Mr. Smith? You have the paper? Page Reish Pei Hey.
Yeah.
Right on the bottom.
Oh,
Second line from the bottom. VeAtah was rak only. Again, one of the reasons that the giving of the Torah was only ha-hat-chala, the beginning. Hechelu lasot, they began to do. B'yamei, and in the days. Achashverosh of Achashverosh. VeAtah was ha-kabbalah, the acceptance. The Kibbal HaYehudim, that the Jews accepted. Who is? Ki, because. Zeh, the fact.
Wait.
Why is it that the days of Moses, when they got the Torah, was only the beginning of the Torah, and the days of Mordechai was actually accepting the Torah? Why? Okay? Ki, because. Zeh, the fact. Zeh means this.
Yeah.
This, but the fact. She'igdimu, that they preceded, that the Jewish people preceded. Not, quote, na'aseh. That's one quote. Li, two, nishma, second quote. Two, nishma. This is the second quote. The fact that the Jews preceded and said, we will do before we will understand.
Was this?
Right? The Jews said first, we'll do and then we'll understand.
Yeah.
The fact that the Jews did this thing of doing action before understanding. The Matan Torah and Matan Torah.
What's Naaseh? To do?
Naaseh means we will do,
Yeah.
and we will understand. Nishma means we will understand.
Yeah.
The fact that the Jews preceded action to understanding, the Matan Torah and Matan Torah, right? They said we'll do, and then after that we'll understand. The reason that they said Moshe Rabbeinu, we're willing to do first and then we'll understand. We're not asking questions. The fact that they did this, Haya, was Mipenei, because, turn the page over, Shechipa.
I don't have that.
Yes, you do. You don't have a page?
No.
Oh, you get
How do you manage that?
Must have been a mistake. One page just got.
It's all you.
It's obviously the hand of Hashem, but not the thumb of the Who is Shechipa? Shechipa is Chipa. Kafa. Shekafa. That God, how do you say, turned over, like iskafia. That God.
Shechipa.
Shechipa. God, like, how do you say?
Change, transform.
No. One second. Shechipa, a chipa also means like, he turned over. Aleim, on them,
It's like
har, a mountain, kegigit, like a barrel.
hard mouth. No, what is it?
So is this shechapa or shekipa?
Shechafa.
Shechafa.
Chafa. He like held over. A kippah is like we have on your head. It's called kippah. It's called a kippah. Kippah tashamayim. Kippah is like the covering.
So that's what this is?
So he covered over them a mountain, kegigit, like a barrel. It says, what did Hashem do?
What word is mountain?
Hara.
Oh, so cover them like a barrel to cover them.
No, Hashem took them to Mount Sinai, and it says in the Gemara, in Gemara Shabbos, there's a whole beautiful several pages about what the Midrashim, about what happened at Mount Sinai. One of the things was the Jewish people got to Mount Sinai, and God took Mount Sinai, held it up on the air over them, and said, if you accept the Torah, good. If not, I'm going to crush you all. What do you say? And everybody said, Na'aseh v'nishma. We'll do it and we'll understand. So he says, hey, that's not nice. The Gemara says, that's not nice. How did he do a thing like that? But, so there's explanations that what it means that he held the mountain over them does not mean that he literally took the mountain and held it over them. It means that he held love over them. Har is equivalent to love.
So meaning he would crush them.
It explains, the Chassidut explains love. Why?
So he would crush them if they didn't accept, but he wouldn't crush them until they did accept?
So it means that God held love over them, and God said, He showed them tremendous love, and He said, if you accept the Torah, then good. If not, then I'm going to force you to accept the Torah. I'm going to show you more and more love until you won't have any choice not to accept the Torah. Do it from free will, not because I'm, bribing you. That's one explanation. However, whatever explanation you say, or you can say God held a mountain over them and He scared them. In other words, He wanted them to come to themselves, right? To get, right? To wake up. Like there's a kid a kid that goes beating everybody up in school. He beats everybody up. And one time the teacher just, goes over to the kid and takes him in the room alone and says, okay, listen, I'm going to punch you right in the face if you ever beat anybody up. You understand? Yeah, I understand. I understand. I won't do it again. Right? So, okay, good. The teacher didn't want to really punch him in the face, right? But he had to make it look like he was really going to do it, because if not, the kid, he tried everything else. The teacher tried everything else with psychologists and everything, and finally the teacher said, see this? It's going to be in your face. I don't care what you do. You beat up one more child, and this, I don't care what. I have permission from your father to beat you up. Okay, I'll be good. I won't do it again. Right? The same thing with Hashem. Hashem said, all these Jewish people, you want to go back to Egypt, you want to do this? Okay, here's a mountain. What do you say? No. I'll be good. You're right. That was stupid. I didn't mean it. I didn't know who I was dealing with over here. I thought I was the boss. Whatever it is, either it's love or it's fear or it's nevertheless, Hashem, it was Gilui, revelation, Milamayla. It was a revelation of Kagigi. Kagigi is like a barrel. Like a big barrel or something.
Yeah.
Hashem held the mountain over the Jews.
Like a barrel.
That's what it's like. There's all sorts of explanations. They didn't want to crush them. He was just covering them over. He was protecting them.
Oh, sure, it was a mountain.
However it was, Hashem forced them. And this is going to be the name of the game. Force. In order to be crushed, you have to be forced. The question is, who's going to force you? Is it going to be from the outside? Like in Mount Sinai, it was Hashem did it. Or in Purim, it was Lahavdil, Haman did it. And in Russia, it was Stalin that did it. Somebody has to crush you. Or is it going to be you yourself who's going to do it? So they're going to say. In the time when Hashem held the mountain over them, Hashem forced them. As soon as the force went away, so, same thing. The kid goes to another school, he looks around, sees, is there anybody stronger than me? He goes home, takes a few weightlifting lessons and some, whatever it is, street fighting lessons or something like that. Then the next school he goes, he gets a few guys together, he understands. Force is the way to do it. I have to be stronger than anybody else. He gets a few guys together, and then they become strong. He was just, the other school, he was a nice guy because he was afraid of getting beaten up. He was forced. But as soon as the force goes away, then he goes back to his old personality. The same thing is with love. Sometimes you can tell people, you can give them love, like the joke, about the guy who's all depressed. Sitting on the street, he's all depressed. The rabbi goes by and says, "What are you depressed for?" He says, "I think I'm going to commit suicide." "Oh, how can you say anything like that?" He said, "Tell me what your problems are." He said, "I'll tell you." He says, 6 months ago, I won the lottery. I told you the joke?
Yeah,
6 months ago, I won the lottery. It was $2 million. He says, "So what's wrong with that?" He says, "Listen." He says, 2 months after that, my uncle died in New Zealand. I didn't even know him, and he left me $50 million. I said, "Well, what's wrong with that?" He said, "Listen." So since then, it's already been over 2 months, nothing. Get it?
He didn't get it last time.
You didn't get it last time?
You didn't get it last time?
I've heard this.
That's it, you have an intervention.
In other words, he got so used to winning, you understand, that if one time he didn't win, he feels all depressed.
No.
Get it? I'll tell it again. A guy sitting on the street is all depressed.
Big inheritance would be winning.
Say it slow.
It wasn't the land enough.
Use sign
Oh, it's
language.
gonna be,
And he says, "Oh, I won." And then he said, "I won again." And then he said, "But it's 2 months and I didn't win anything." Since we got all depressed. Okay. Let's just forget the whole thing, all right? Let's just, come on, we gotta, at least have a little, what do you say?
Expression.
Mercy on the teacher. Okay, let's go. When you're gonna get married, you're gonna have to laugh at your wife's jokes. Huh? Even if she tells this one I just told. Can I say, oh, that's a joke. Wow, you really know how to tell a joke. That's fantastic. That's how you have to do it. Practice. Practice is what I'm here. Let's go.
it's gonna be vice versa.
Ubiyamei Achashverosh. No. Ubiyamei. If she doesn't laugh at the joke, you have to act like I just acted now with him. Nice. Ubiyamei Achashverosh, in the days of Achashverosh, Hayasal was HaKabbalah, the acceptance. When did the Jews accept the Torah? When? After the miracle. After they were crushed, in the time of Haman. HaKabbalah, the acceptance, Mitzad Atzma, was on their own. So we see there's 3 levels. In Moshe Rabbeinu, there was the level of Mazleu Chazik, that the Jewish people were forced, and so their faith was an external one. They believed as long as they were forced. Before the miracle of Purim, they had Mesiras Nefesh. Mesiras Nefesh was also very amazing. But also they were forced by Haman. But after the miracle, they weren't forced anymore. Then the only thing that was crushing them was them themselves. They realized that they were sitting high, they had big miracles, but they were still in Gullus. The Gullus was still there. And that's what crushed them. Huh?
The Harchava.
The Harchava, they had plenty. But nevertheless, so therefore they could choose, they had a power of choice. They could choose to say, wow, we made it, here we are, like after the 6-day war, hey, we won, we knocked them all down, we're the greatest, nothing like us. Right? They could have said, God did us miracles, look, we're the highest people in the world, Jews, chosen people, the sons of God, hey, we made it. But what did they say? The Jewish people said, listen, we did all this, we have all these amazing revelations, but we're still in exile, we're in Gullus. Right? Look at the non-Jews. They still believe in their crazy things. And there's a lot of Jews also that they don't really believe with all their hearts. And so they felt crushed. They realized we're still, that's why we don't say Hallel on Purim. Holiday of Purim, it's going to be Purim soon. You don't say Hallel. Because even now we're still servants of Achashverosh, and they realized it. That's true, we had these big miracles and God saved us, but we're in exile, we're in Gullus. Understand? That was the big fault after the 6-day war. The Jewish people, they should have said, hey, God did a big miracle for us, but look, we're still pretty far away from God. They said, no, we're on the top. We got nothing. Let's give stuff back. Well, we're the bad. We're the, right? We got all these free gifts. Let's give them away. So it says, the Yesh Lomar, we can say, Shehamunah, that the Jews, that the faith, Israel of the Jews. Mitzad zeh, from this. Shanasham, that the soul. Shalomayla, from above. Ro'eh Elokus, sees godliness. How did we call that before? Mazleu Chazi. Emunah, this is faith. Shemitzad, from. What's Bora Bora? The sunsets. Ro'eh, from above. Ro'eh, sees. Elokus, godliness. Emunah, faith. Shemitzad, from. Siba, a reason.
That is from.
A reason?
This is from a reason, from a cause.
A cause.
Right? The fact what?
What's Shemitzad?
Should, from, because of.
That is from.
Faith, which is because of a reason.
A reason.
Right?
The actual translation is cause, yeah?
No, Shem Mitzad means because of.
No.
Exactly.
Siba.
Siba is a cause, right? A cause or a reason, yeah. A reason, same thing.
No, but the more exact would be the cause.
Who is Al Derech, like Shehikdimu, that the Jews preceded Na'aset, Hikdimu, that they said first. Right? We had it before on the previous page, on the other side, the bottom.
What's Shehikdimu?
Shehikdimu, that they preceded, they said first.
Said first.
They said first, here we had it here, on the bottom here, Na'aset.
Proceeded to do, proceeded to do.
And Na'aset.
To understand.
Shehikdimu, right in the last line of the previous page.
Yeah,
That, the fact that they preceded Na'aseh Nishma B'Matan Torah. Right? The fact that the soul sees God, so it believes, so that's a cause. The soul sees something God. Huh?
Proceeded understand.
Na'aseh, you had it on the previous page. Na'aseh Nishma.
We will do and we will understand.
Na'aseh. They proceeded doing to understanding, right, that they said this. Why did they say Nasev and Nishma? They had this level of faith of Nasev and Nishma because Nishma, the Matan Torah, Mitzad, because of Hagili de Lamaila, a revelation from above. But this. Should be a Mei Achashverosh, that in the days of Achashverosh, after the miracle.
I have a question, Rabbi.
Let me just finish the sentence. How Yitol was HaKabbalah, the acceptance of God, Mitzad Atzmam, from themselves, who is Ki, because as then Nitkale was revealed, Hahit Kashrut, the attachment, Be'eloku, to God, Shemitzad, from, Atzem, the essence, the neshama of the soul.
Excuse me.
Hit Kashrut, attachment, Atzmi, essential, Shemitzad, that's from. Etzem mitziutam, the essence of their being. So in other words,
VeAtah is their being.
essence, the essence, mitziutam, of their being.
So now I was wondering, like what it says with the Gule de Lamala, that for Rabbi, what's the point of, why not have a shin instead of a dalet, or why have a hey? They just, I don't get why they write it.
It's interchangeable.
That's why I'm wondering why this case
Shilamilo,
a dalet.
Yes, one second. One second. This guy should do it. Shemitzad Azman, one second.
What? Etzmis?
Right, nasa and
Shematzah.
oh, dilamayla. It's interchangeable. It makes no difference. You can say gile shilamayla or gile dilamayla. Right? And usually dalit, dilamayla is Aramaic. Like eteruta dilatata. Dalit in Aramaic is the same thing as shin in
Hebrew.
That's
Hebrew.
so. Why in Hebrew we have both shit and dal?
Usually in Hebrew they don't use the dalit.
Oh.
Eteruta dilatata. Right? We have a nose paper. There's nose paper over there if you want.
What does it mean? It
Let me
means.
see it again.
Okay.
Let's go.
Again,
it's
sexual.
Atzmos, the essence. The essence, mitziutam, of their being.
So dal shit is the same.
Shemetzit.
Shemitzat, that is from.
Etzem, the essence, mitziutam, of their being.
Yeah, but it's.
Etzem.
Means
Why don't you do that by number?
two words said before.
Essential.
Ahit kashrut, attachment, atzmit, essential. Essential attachment from the essence of their soul.
And Ha'ikashut was the attachment.
The attachment, right? Tying.
An essential attachment.
Right? An essential attachment from the essence of their soul.
Okay.
They're being.
Okay? What does that mean? Like, for instance, a person can be attached to money. Money, the way a person is attached to his mother, to his father, is an essential thing that's not learned. It's more essential. It's an essential attachment from the essence of the soul. The same thing how a person is attached to God. That's an essential attachment from the essence of the soul. But there's different levels of being attached to God. You can be attached to God like it was in the time of Moshe, when God forced the Jews. But then you can be attached to God from yourself, like it was in the days of Mordechai, after the Jews were pressured, after the pressure was let off. Okay, Ubepratios Yosef. In more detail.
Ubefrat.
Ubepratios, and in detail, Yoter more. Yesh Lomar, we can say. There is to say. Shegam, that also. Begilui, and the revelation.
Ubefrat Yoter.
Ubepratiot, and in detail, Yoter more. Yesh Lomar, we can say.
Would you break it down? How do you exactly say that word in detail?
Ubepratiut.
Space
And be in pratiut, detail, yoter more.
It's the same word as superfrat.
Yes, ubefrat.
Especially.
Frat.
Yesh Lomar, we can say, shegam, that also, begilui, in the revelation, atzem, the essence, and neshama of the soul, yeshnom, there is, dugmat,
Yeshlam.
yeshnom, there are,
There are.
dugmat, something like,
Similar.
similar, but it doesn't make sense in English. There is. Something like, or similar to, if you want. Shnei, two, inyanim, two, how do you say, categories. Hanal, we said before. What did we say before? What are the two categories from before? We said there's two levels of faith. Faith, which is forced on you, and faith which comes from the essence of your soul. We can say even in the faith that's in the essence of their soul, there's also two levels. There's also two levels. As we say in more detail. Right? We say, in general, there's two levels. There's the external soul, which was like in the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, he aroused. That's like Mazleu Chazi. And there's the essence of the soul that Mordechai revealed. Good? That's when the soul is crushed by the fact that we're in Gullus. The soul crushes itself. You make the decision to crush yourself. No one's crushing you from the outside. Right? You make a decision. But how am I going to look at the world? I'm going to look at the world as, now I'm religious, now I have Torah, now I have mitzvahs, now let's make a little money, now let's make a little power, now let's make a, right? Now I can be like everybody else. Or you're going to say, now I have Torah, now I have mitzvahs, now I'm religious. I got to fix up this world. This world is terrible. Right? got to do something to make the world a better place. You have your choice. You can do it. You can either crush yourself, or you can just, start to increase yourself. Right? Now I'm religious, I went to yeshiva, now I'm going to learn Torah. I'm going to sit and learn Torah the whole day. I'm just going to sit and learn Torah. I don't care about anybody else. Right? I'm going to save myself. Go in the Noah's Ark, sit and learn Torah day and night. Maybe I'll be a Rosh Yeshiva or something like that. And that's it. Right? That's it. I'm going to think about myself. Or you're going to say, no, I'm going to sit and learn Torah so I can teach Torah to everybody. I'm going to Rosh Yeshiva not for me, for other people, to bring them in, to teach them more. Right? Well, how are you going to look at the world? You're going to look at the world that now I'm set, I have to start thinking about myself, or you think now that I'm set, now I really have to start worrying about the world. Wow, there's things I didn't even notice before. Understand? It's like a doctor who says, now I've gotten my degree, now I can start making some big bucks. Or you can say, no, now I'm a doctor, I have to heal people. Look, I wasn't aware of how many people I can help. Right? Now I have the ability to help people. I went to school, How does he look at things? He says one way is that you take life, you want to make yourself bigger. The other one is crushing yourself. You want to make yourself small. There's not enough time in life. Oh, all I have is 120 years left. I got to do something quick. There's two ways of looking. One way is you crush yourself. Another way is you're normal. It's the same thing. When you crush yourself, that comes from the essence of your soul. You're making a choice. Says the Rabbi, now even in this level of the essence of your soul, there's also two levels. How so? Let's look and see.
What is the cursive writing, like the non-fat bold letter? Who adds them? Like,
What?
Where is that from? The non-bold letter cursive. Here.
We didn't get to that yet, though.
No, I'm just wondering if
he wants to stress it. He's stressing it.
So
instead of putting a line underneath it, makes it different, right?
Okay, so that's like some
like capital letters.
To
stress the Gilui, the revelation.
That's the Rebbe put it.
Yes.
Put after the fact.
Yes, that's right. The Gilui, that the revelation. This was gone over by the Rebbe. The Rebbe went over. The Gilui, that the revelation adds some in the Neshama of the essence of the soul. By the way, if you look at Likutei Sichos, you'll see that all these sichos, the Rebbe wrote all the footnotes.
Oh, really?
He wrote all the footnotes. He went through, and it just took him, half an hour, a minute. He just went through, and he wrote all the footnotes. He knew everything by heart. Every page, every place, every...
Oh, he didn't have to read the sentence.
A lot of times he knew, he would read, read this as soon as he found the place. He would write it. He didn't have to look in the books. It was incredible. A lot of times the Rebbe writes 3, 4, preferences for each thing. Look over here, not like it says over there, and then he brings a mimer, and he brings something from the Zohar, and he brings something from the Gemara, and he brings something from the Tosfos. Okay, that's a whole book. Okay, let's go. Shagam also, Pratius Yoser, in more detail, we can say the Gila Etzem and Neshama, the revelation of the soul. B'inyan, in the topic of Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice. Yesh Lomar, we can say, Shibin Okeya, that relating to Kochos HaGiluyim, the revealed powers of the soul.
What's Kochos?
Kochos, powers. HaGiluyim, revealed.
Is it revealed powers?
Right. Mesiras Nefesh. Mesiras Nefesh is an inside essence power of the soul. But, in relation to the other powers of the soul, thought, action, wisdom, love, fear, the power of Mesiras Nefesh is kamo, like davar, a thing, nosaf, additional. It's like an additional power. It's another thing.
Wait, so...
It's sort of like the person wipes out his personality and does Mesiras Nefesh.
So the word after the Kochos,
The revealed powers, who is kamo, like an additional thing.
Could it be something like no end?
Huh?
Something without end?
No.
No.
No. Dover nosaf. It's like an additional thing. In other words, here we have Joe, the guy who's a pharmacist, he's a nice guy, he's intelligent. All of a sudden he does Mesiras Nefesh. Right? Wow, I didn't know you, Joe. I didn't know, right? I thought you were just a nice guy. All of a sudden, look what he did. Mesiras Nefesh means like he sort of wipes out his personality and he chooses to do Mesiras Nefesh. Ukamo, and like Shiroim, we see. Bepol, actually, where is this? Bepol, actually.
What's another word for Bepol?
Actually, Bekama, we see actually Bekama with many Anashim people. How can we see that Mesiras
Bekama, what's Bekama?
Kama with many Anashim people? The Rebbe is going to bring a proof that Mesiras Nefesh can be an additional thing to your personality. Right? It doesn't really come from the very, very essence of yourself. You see. Because if it comes from the essence, it affects your whole being. Not that it knocks out your being. For instance, you'll see an example. We see that there's a lot of people should be yosam that when they were. Should be yotam. That when they were. Should be yotam means in their being. That means when they were. Bim a column in a place. Hayu, that there were. Sham, there. Gezerot, decrees. Al, an. Torah of a mitzvos. Right? Like the Jews, the Chabad, the Hasidim that were in Russia. And they were self-sacrificing. Right? They were willing to give their lives for Judaism. They risked themselves just to make a bris milah, to make a wedding. There's all sorts of amazing stories. When they were in places like Russia, when it was difficult, Haya, there was. Lahem, to them. Mesirut nefesh, self-sacrifice, bepoil, actually. In action. Meshech.
Wait. Bepol can become from actually to action? Or an action?
Same thing, actually. That's what it means, act in action.
Yeah.
Paul, actually, actual, right?
Well, you can say
Meshech.
Bepol, you can say was actually, the other you can say in action.
They had Mesiras Nefesh actually, Meshech, for the course.
For the course?
In the course of. Or you can, Meshech in this case means for, right? For. Just translate, just please translate like I say, and then afterwards you can ask as many questions as you want to.
What's Meshech there?
Meshech, for, kama v'kama, many shanim, years.
Yes.
There were Hasidim that when they were in Russia, they had self-sacrifice. They did incredible things. They walked through the snow for days, and they to build a mikveh to help another Jew. But when they came, afterwards, lemedinot, to countries, she'efshar, that it's possible, la'asok, to do.
Countries? Is that Medina?
Medina's countries, she'efshar, that it's possible, la'asok, to do. Betorah of a mitzvahs, Torah and mitzvahs. Mitoch, in.
What's Lesuk?
Lasok, to do. Torah of a mitzvahs means to work at, but it's just to do. Just translate like I said, and then we'll do it out. Torah of a mitzvahs, mitoch, in. Harchava, comfort. Wideness, but wideness doesn't make sense. In comfort is ein nikar, right? The guy is in Russia and he's self-sacrificing and he doesn't sleep and he does everything to educate children. He risks his life, but afterwards he goes to France, he gets out and he goes to England, or he goes to America, or comes to Israel. As ein, there is not nikar, noticed. Bohem, it's not recognizable. You don't see ein nikar. It is not seen bohem in them. Kol kach, so much. Hamasirut nefesh, the self-sacrifice.
Bahem, in them.
You don't see in them, right? It's not recognized, not noticed in them. so much on Mesiras Nefesh, the self-sacrifice. Shahoya, that there was, lahem, to them, mikodem, before. But you don't see. And the Rebbe is going to say why? Because in Russia they were being forced to have Mesiras Nefesh. They weren't forcing themselves. It's like in the time of Purim, when there was a decree, and after the decree. When there was a decree, the Jews were in Mesiras Nefesh. But there's a higher level. And the higher level is after the decree, when the Jews are living high, and everything is easy. Then you have to crush yourself. That's really being crushed. Because if the crushing depends on Haman, or on Stalin, or some other force, then as soon as the pressure is let up, then the person returns back to his old self. And if not, then, as we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow.